We're going to go ahead and get started as we brought everyone in. And so without further ado, I do call this meeting of the Texas A&M University Student Senate, the 73rd session, to order on March 3rd, 2021 at 7:04 p.m. We'll begin with a period of opening remarks. For those opening remarks, I just want to take the time to remind everybody, both here in the room as well as at home, the guidelines that we're going to be following tonight in this hybrid meeting. Those guidelines are as follows. We have clearly marked entrances and exits. Anyone who's coming into the room will need to enter into this door on my right side over here. Anyone who is exiting and coming back into the room will exit out the left. Anyone who is exiting for good will exit out the backs. Everyone has been asked to follow all mask guidelines laid out by Texas A&M University. And so we will keep our masks on for the entirety of the meeting. We'll also maintain social distancing throughout the entirety of the meeting and make sure that everyone is staying safe, healthy, and we're able to move forward in an efficient manner. Other than that, that's all I've got for opening remarks. And so we will move now into opening roll call, led by Speaker Pro Tem for Trostclair.
All right, folks, should be open. Please go ahead and fill that out. I'll give you about 5 minutes.
Those of us who are just now joining the meeting, we are in a period of opening roll call. So if you're a senator and you're here, make sure you go ahead and fill that out. I'll give a couple more seconds here and then it will stay open as we move on. All right, and with that, the period of opening roll call will remain open until 7:10. That form will remain open, but we will go ahead now and move into our next period, a period of invocations and the pledges of allegiance, led tonight by one of our own, Senator Garcia. I believe Senator Garcia is virtual. Senator Garcia, are you with us?
Yes, can y'all hear me?
We can. You do have the floor.
All right. Well, howdy, Senate. I'm glad to see y'all here today. And well, I'm in charge of invocation today, so let's get started. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to say thank you for this day. Thank you for having us here present once again. I pray that you allow us to continue to be here in health, to continue to represent ourselves, our constituents, and this university to the best of our ability. I pray for the health of myself and all senators and their families here, and that we continue to do well throughout the course of the semester. In the name of Jesus, amen. Did I do the pledges?
Sir,
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas pledge. I pledge allegiance to the I pledge allegiance to the Texas flag. True. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
thank you so much, Senator Garcia. With that, we will now move into a period of the reading of the mission statement and the Aggie Honor Code read by our longest serving Senator, Chair Rodriguez.
Howdy Senate, Chair Rodriguez, Constituency Affairs, College of Engineering. The Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through legislation, research, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. And Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. Thanks and gig'em.
Chair Rodriguez, we will now move into a period of the singing of the Spirit of Aggieland, led by Director Marvitt. Tim Cross Claire. We will now move into a period of open forum. Speaker Pro Tem Ross Claire, do we have anyone signed up for open forum?
Yes, sir, we do. 1 second. We, Senator Rogers, please speak with one. Senator Rogers, off campus conference. Howdy, Senate. I come here on behalf of the Core Values Subcommittee, and first of all, I would love to say that it's great to be here finally in person. I finance test and winter storms have subsided, so glad to be here. So tonight, I just wanted to tell you all, thank you for confirming our nominee, Todd Christian, for the Core Values Award for Selfless Service. He is joining tonight just to say a few words about what this award means to him, as well as what the core value of selfless service means to him. So I'd like to give it over to him. He graduated in 2019 with a bachelor's degree in computer engineering, now resides in Washington, D.C.
Fantastic. Todd, you do have the floor.
Wonderful. Thank you, Senator Rogers. And Senators, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. First, allow me, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Gig'em. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the incredible privilege to be recognized for the core value of selfless service. This came as a complete surprise to me. I had no idea that I was nominated for this, and I will admit I never had the opportunity to be a senator at Texas A&M. When I started there in fall of 2014 until I graduated in May 2019. And yes, you can graduate with a victory lap. It's totally kosher. During that time, I was very involved with several student organizations, including the Maroon and White Leadership Society, which meets just right down the hall from the Senate chambers. But I always wanted to work with the Senate one way or another, if for no other reason than y'all are quiet servants representing the thousands and thousands of students at A&M, many of which never know that the work that y'all are doing. Y'all do very important work, and it often goes unrecognized and unthanked. Perhaps one reason you're in the news, if you will, is because you do something that other students don't like. The role that I find myself in my everyday life now as a cybersecurity expert, if you will, I'm told I'm an expert, far from it. But in my day-to-day job at the Department of State working on cybersecurity, often too, when I am in the news, if you will, is because I have done something that other people think is not great. The best servants are those who work quietly in the background and very rarely seek recognition. So I am absolutely flattered to be recognized for my service to Texas A&M for selfless service. I don't believe that I am deserving of the award. I think there are so many other people that are much more deserving for one reason or another, but I do graciously accept the recognition, and I hope that I can have an opportunity to give back to y'all more directly. I've always tried to live my life in a way that I always try to give back to people more than I am given. I realize that a lot has helped get me to the position I am in life, to be able to have a full-time job, to have a steady income, to be able to have food on the table every night. And I realize that privilege comes with a great responsibility, and I try to live that every day by giving back. So again, Senator Rogers, thank you for the introduction. Senate, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. And I hope to have an opportunity to give back more directly to y'all. Thanks, and Gig'em.
Yeah, thank you so much, Todd. And just on behalf of the Core Values Subcommittee, thank you all again. We'll be back here next week with a new, next meeting with a new nominee, and we'll come out with the form. This year we've had more nominations than we've had in past years. So please continue to nominate people who you think are worthy of that Core Values Award for that month. Thank you, Todd, and
Fantastic. Are you open for any questions?
oh yes.
Are there any questions for our presenter? Seeing none, thank you, Senator Rogers. Speaker Pro Tem Board Chocolate.
Sure. We do have Ms. Catherine Wolf representing COSGA.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine. I'm the executive director for COSGA. I spoke to y'all last semester. You might recognize my face a little bit from that. But COSGA is, again, Conference on Student Government Associations. We will be hosting our 40th annual conference locally in Coldus, broadcasting it virtually for all of our attendees across the US. I really encourage y'all to register for that conference. Normally, the registration rate per delegate is $100, but for the fellow Aggies, we're going to offer y'all a 50% discount code. That code is going to be Aggie ! With the enthusiasm for that. Again, that will be 50% off. The first few of y'all to let your advisor, Amy Lloyd, know that you'd like to attend, she will cover y'all's registration fee. So again, the deadline to register will be this Friday, and the conference dates are March 13th through 14th. So that's not this weekend, but then the following weekend. That'll be Saturday and Sunday. Conference will run between about 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day. We have some really great content this year. We have Attorney General Ford speaking Saturday morning. He is an Aggie alum as well. So really encourage y'all to register for conference. We'd love to have you.
Are there any questions for our presenter? Seeing none, thank you, Catherine. Speaker Pro Tem Corey Trostberg.
Next, we have Mariana Coot, speaking on behalf of the Vice President and
You be through.
I'll put my laptop on the table. Okay. Thanks. Howdy, Senate. Howdy. Yeah, cool. Me again with another lovely presentation. So I'm here to present to you guys about the SGA survey results from the very end of last semester. So basically, Exec Cabinet decided to kind of send out a survey to a lot of the student body over all sorts of topics, and these are the results from them. And I thought you guys just might be interested in some of our findings because a lot of them have been super helpful. Okay, so this is methods and sample sizing. Also, the whole like PDF to PowerPoint thing didn't really work out in my favor. So I'm sorry if it looks a little weird. But we worked with SLS and Qualtrics to set out a 59 question survey with 44 quantitative questions, 14 qualitative questions, and 1 demographic question. The survey was first sent out December 17th to around 30,000 students. And that was SLS's choice. We just kind of told them we wanted a good enough representation of the student body. So they decided on that number. And then 50 of those emails were undeliverable. And then students received up to 4 reminders before the survey finally closed January 6th. Some of you might have received that survey. I unfortunately did not, but some of you might have. And then of the around 30,000 students, we had 2,427 take part in the survey, yielding an 8% response rate, which for an SGA survey, as you know, is a pretty good response rate. So we were pretty proud of that. There were 3 main key areas. Cool. Academics, student life, and student involvement, and the lines all really kind of blurred on all of those. But those were the main parts that we really wanted to hit on this survey. So for key findings in academics, a majority of students, 88%, reported physically being in College Station in the fall semester. We then asked them how many of them stayed after Thanksgiving, and 73% said they stayed after Thanksgiving. Of the students that did stay in College Station, 68% reported being on campus regularly. However, only 1/3 of those, or yeah, for different reasons, however, 1/3 were not on campus regularly at all. 90% of students said that they planned to be in College Station in the spring semester, and 60% said they were more willing to attend in-person classes in the spring semester than they were in the fall semester. 2/3 of students, or 69%, said they had in-person classes in the fall semester, and 62% indicated that they would have liked more in-person classes. However, 37% of students with in-person classes attended less than once a week. So it's a little disappointing. More than half of the students, or 58%, reported that their engagement decreased over the fall semester in classes. Out of these students, 88% said it was because classes were online. Additionally, 68% of students indicated that their academic performance worsened over the fall semester compared to previous semesters, or they were freshmen, but it was just worse than they expected. And here I have some actual like graphics from the survey. It's hard to see. But the first question was, what, if any, would you like to see or see more of in terms of grade accommodations? 66% said they wanted pass-fail options. 37% said Q-drops not counting against you. 30% said an extended Q-drop deadline. 20% said none. And then there are a few more options there. When asked, were you physically in College Station after Thanksgiving? You can see there, 57% said yes, I returned. No, 23% no, said no, I did not plan to and did not return. You can read the rest. Okay, for this slide, you can see on the left approximately how often did you attend your in-person class. Only 39% said multiple days a week, 25% said once a week, and everyone else, it was maybe once or twice the whole semester. Did your academic performance worsen in the fall of 2020? And you can see most of these are yes, with only 32% saying no. And out of all those that said yes, they said it was because of increased anxiety or stress or because of COVID-19. Or increased academic workload was also a very big percentage. What factors contributed to your level of engagement in class decreasing? 88% of the class being online. Over half said difficulty with professors adapting to being online, and a few others there. All right, so the next little bit is key findings in student life. So almost half of the students rated their mental health during the fall as below average. Students shared that the COVID-19 pandemic was the biggest factor impacting their mental health. Students also shared that their personal support system and their involvement in student organizations helped the most in helping them succeed this semester, or last semester. Almost 3/4 of students, 72%, said they were tested for COVID-19 in the fall semester. Additionally, 56% of students supported mandatory testing in the spring semester. When we asked them what would help them get tested more, they said easier access to testing and increased incentives to testing. And you can see there some of the actual results from the survey. What factors do you feel impacted your mental health? 78% said COVID-19, 62% said an increased academic workload, 61% said current events, 46% personal or family health concerns, 34% economic burden. Did you take a COVID-19 test this fall semester? Yes, out of precaution, 44%. Yes, I was randomly selected, almost 30%. You can see the others. Also, for all questions where like other was an option, we have what they put. So that's in 300 pages of comments, but we do have all of those other responses. A lot of them were people just like typing in COVID a different way, you know. The next one, what factors, if any, would make you more inclined to take a COVID test? And you can see here they said easier access, increased incentives. And then the next one is, to what degree do you feel these resources helped you or did not help you succeed? And the majority of people said personal support system helped them a great deal. And then the second highest one was involvement in student organizations also helped them a great deal. And then the next key findings were just student involvement as a whole. Half of the students did not feel there were enough opportunities to get involved in this fall semester. Students indicated a preference for in-person involvement opportunities and activities in the spring semester. Almost 2/3 of students stated they would be willing to attend small-scale outdoor events. And you'll see that in a little bit. Here we asked 2 questions. So first we asked them, were you involved in the fall? If they said yes, we asked them if they felt that their involvement in student organizations helped their overall college experience. Majority said yes. If they were not involved, we asked them, did it negatively impact your college experience? A majority also said yes. And then we asked them if they wanted more in-person involvement, if they were likely to be involved virtually, and so on. So you can see those also. And then this one was asked for by a lot of the SGA committees, and also class councils had a few traditions in here. And this was just, which of these would you be willing to attend? So you can see majority small scale outdoor events was the best. Small scale indoor events also was pretty high. Student organization meetings, almost 60% said they would be willing to attend. And then you can see for other specific events on there also. And so before we go into questions, we have sent this data to a lot of partners across campus. I had a meeting with Dr. Pugh and Dr. Dobianski this afternoon where I showed them these results, and they are super interested in, especially like the student involvement ones that directly deal with Department of Student Affairs. I know Faculty Senate has been shown these survey results. I know Dr. Gibbs was shown like the COVID sections to kind of help us out with that. And I know this has really gone through campus to be able to help our admin partners and other entities make decisions for the spring semester. I was talking to Dr. Tanya Driver this morning, and she said that the wellness committee she's on is also really going to use this to make sure that for like the mental health questions, that really gives them the data they need to prove that like, hey, students aren't doing as good as they have in the past. Yeah, with that, I'm open to questions.
Fantastic. The presenter is open for questions. I believe we have Student Body President Mendoza on the line as well to answer questions. Are there any questions for our presenters? Senator Farrell.
Senator Farrell, Engineering Caucus. I have a question, like regarding there in the presentation, you mentioned like the students answer a high percentage that their grades actually like weren't that good. I don't know if we could go back to that slide.
Yeah.
My question for you is like, I don't know if you all remember like, Chair Jeffries presented like at the beginning of the semester, like a overview about the grades, and in that presentation, like they showed that we did better in general. Why is that discrepancy like between the answer? I don't know if it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I do remember that presentation where grades actually did increase last semester. I think it's because this was just us asking the students directly, how do you think you did last semester? This was, I think, right before or right after final grades had been published. But this was their own thoughts and feelings. Like they might have gotten the same grades, but for them, it might have been a lot more difficult to get those same grades and things. So again, this isn't directly, like what Sam presented was the grades directly. This is just the students' actual feelings about their academic performance. Again, they might have gotten even better grades, but academic performance, they might have feel like they did a lot worse than they've done in the past. Due to, again, like they said, increased anxiety, lower motivation, lower engagement.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
And Oriana, if I might, I think that's exactly right. And I would add that, asking a student for what they think is probably going to have a bit of the mental health aspects infused in the answer. And so it's probably the reality plus all that they were dealing with when being asked that question. But agree with Oriana.
Thanks.
Are there any further questions for our presenters? Senator Hernandez.
Senator Hernandez, Liberal Arts Caucus. I just wanted to know where I can access this data after the session.
That's a great question. It's something I was going to mention, but I forgot to. If any of you are interested in any of the specific questions in the survey, again, like I mentioned earlier, it was a 59 question survey, so there's a lot more. Feel free to shoot me an email or text message and I can send you any of the questions. I can also have the questions broken down by demographics. So like by college, how the College of Engineering answered this one question, how females versus males answered this one question. I can have that broken down if you have any specific questions you're interested in. So just shoot me an email and I can get you any of the questions you're interested in.
Thank you for your work.
Of course.
Are there any other questions at this time? Seeing none, thank you both.
Thank you.
Speaker Pro Tem for Claire, do we have any other participants in the open forum?
It's not a period. It's a good day.
All right, and that will conclude our period of open forum, and we will move into a period of the Student Affairs Fee Advisory Board presentation and confirmation. We have a couple of these candidates online as well as in person. They're in the other room. Speaker Pro Tem for Claire is going to go grab them real quick and bring them back in. The director of that board is going to present for a minute, tell you about the candidates that he has selected along with the process of selecting them. Then they're each going to introduce themselves. After that, you'll get a chance to ask the director and the director only some questions. And then after that period of question and answer, we'll go to a period of voting to confirm. Professor Jordan, you have the floor.
Well, howdy, Senate. My name is Jordan Ellums, and I am the chair for the Student Affairs State Advisory Board. The following nominees were interviewed by me. A committee consisted of myself, student body president, Speaker of the Senate, and the GPSC president. All the nominees met the strict qualifications for having an ambition to serve the student body. So I'll just allow them to introduce themselves to you guys.
All right, I'll go ahead and start. Hi, my name is Thomas Valerian. I'm a sophomore, I'm a graduate student, part of the class of 2023. I'm studying chemical engineering.
Hello, my name is Sarah Mask. I'm a chemical engineering major, class of 2022.
Howdy, my name is Casey Simmons. I am a junior philosophy major.
Howdy, my name is Nathan Barnell. I'm a class of 2023 political science major.
Howdy, my name is Sky McClinney. I am a class of 22 computing major.
Howdy, I see some familiar faces. Noble, I'm a agricultural economics major and a proud member of the class of 2022. So.
Hi y'all, my name is Kazi Tausha, class of 23, stats major from Houston, Texas.
Howdy everyone, my name is Brady Levick. I'm a sophomore animal science major, class of 23.
We also have another member on Zoom.
Yeah, howdy everyone. My name is Andrew. I'm a junior computer science here at Texas A&M.
And so I just would call for them to be confirmed. This is a great group of nominees, and I have the fullest confidence that they'll serve the students well.
Jordan, are you open for some questions?
Yes, we can open it up for some questions.
Are there any questions for our presenter? Chair Hine.
Chair Hine, Rules and Regulations. Could you go over just an overview of what qualifications these candidates have or had to meet in order to be on the board?
Yes, so almost all the candidates had leadership experience, had an ambition to serve the university, and also wanted to learn more about how the budgeting process works for the university. I'm sure they can go down the line and kind of explain what some of their qualifications are if they'd like to.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. So currently, I'm an undergraduate and I'm really learning to get hands-on experience with working with people, with working how to communicate with them, to not necessarily just put an answer out there, but to really communicate that answer and understand why this answer is actually important. That's one of the things I'm really wanting to learn, and I want to bring this to the board, and also to put an engineering mindset to it, right? So in my engineering courses, like right now I'm taking thermodynamics. One of the things that we are learning is like energy accounting, to be able to understand how when we put something into a system, how does it come out? You know, and taking that same kind of balancing mindset and bringing it to the board, except instead of dealing with energy, now we're dealing with money. And it's a great way to use this type of mindset to serve my fellow students on campus. So.
Personally, I am looking to build relationships and understand more just outside of the sciences, as I'm also a chemical engineering major. So a lot of our core study is math and science, and I'm looking to expand into communication and business and economics. I'm extremely dedicated towards my studies and everything that I do. And I'm really just looking to serve the students and help them better understand how our university works as a whole.
So this will actually be my second year on the board, so I do have a little bit of experience in how to be a liaison to these different departments, but also I'm a leader in other organizations and I represent a lot of different student groups. I use disability services, I use counseling and psychological services, so I can take my background and better apply how students like myself would want our board to recommend budget.
I think on top of everything that everyone else has said, I wanted to serve in some capacity that would have real, financial material impact on the university, really benefit it. And I think just take on-campus life pre-COVID, obviously, you can go from the dorms and student life to health services to rec, to the counseling center. Practically everywhere you go is affected by student affairs. And I think it's a really understated role and division that being able to serve will be an honor for how wide-reaching its effect is.
I had words in my head and they're no longer there. During my time in high school, I was the head of many different student organizations. And going into college, I am now executive on some of our more social student organizations. In terms of qualifications, I served a year with the Department of Defense during my senior year of high school. And through that, I gained a lot of experience in giving presentations and taking a big picture and putting it on a platter. I represent some of our smaller minorities on Texas A&M, and I hope to be able to bring their voices to a place that matters.
Yeah, all my colleagues have said really great answers. I think I really love them. I think one of the biggest things with the board, it's one of those organizations on campus that really has the potential to have huge impacts. when we think about the budget requests that, different departments bring to the table, a lot of the things they're requesting are the same things that y'all as senators ran on, or what our student body president candidates ran on. Let's take mental health, for example. We've all advocated and campaigned on increasing mental health capacities. Well, when it comes down to it, it's our board's responsibility to approve, services by the different departments to get greater counseling, to get different hotlines for mental resources. And so that's just one example of how this board really serves as a facilitating body for not only y'all's interests, but on the interests that y'all campaigned on when it comes to, the different departments with the student life.
So my main goal is to just create a bigger impact on campus. I'm currently in an organization where we work with clients, student organizations and startups on campus. And so I'm currently a leader in that organization. I'm vice president of the testing consulting group. And so I guess the reason I want to be on this board is that I just want to create a bigger impact through, well, in the organization, we don't have impacts through other organizations or through partnerships, but I know with this organization, we can do much more broad scale impact. And so that's the main reason I want to be in this organization. As for qualifications, I'm a statistics major. I'm also pursuing a master's in finance. So I guess I'll know some things about budgets and whatnot. but on that end, I've worked on lots of projects with other student organizations on helping them solve their problems. I think that on this board, I can work together with lots of other people to figure out what's going on here, how can we create solutions to some of the things that we want to create solutions to.
Awesome. So for my qualifications, this is my first opportunity to show my leadership that I had gained in high school and throughout elementary and things like that. But to serve on the board, it's going to be a privilege of mine and something that I will cherish for a long time and help me build my leadership skills for, when I become a medical doctor and, start to serve patients in the world, honestly, the whole aspect of things. But as an animal scientist, I think that we don't get as much recognition as, we basically feed the world. We're the leaders in everything, we do with food and agriculture and that kind of deal. So hopefully my time serving on the board for this year will allow me to have an impact on the agricultural life and
For me personally, I've been employed with the Division of Student Affairs IT department for about 2 years now. And so I've become really familiarized and invested in every single department within the student affairs. And I'm just hoping to use my knowledge and experience to have a positive effect on the student body.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions for our presenter? And seeing none, that will conclude the period of question and answer. Jordan, if you'd like to lead your team outside, we'll vote and then we'll bring you back in. All right, Senate, with that, we will move by general consent to confirm the members that were presented before you to the SAFAB board. Do I see any objections to general consent? And seeing no objections, that does pass. And we will now bring them back in and swear them in. And feel free to clap when I come back in. Oh, hit the table, whatever.
All right, all of y'all at the same time can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To faithfully execute to the best of my ability.
To faithfully execute to the best of my ability.
The The duties of the office of Student Advisory Fee Board. The duties of the office of.
The duties of the office of
Student Affairs Fee Advisory Board.
Student Affairs Fee Advisory Board
For the Texas A&M University.
for the Texas A&M University
Student Government Association.
Student Government Association
To uphold the honor of the same.
to uphold the honor of the same
At all times to protect the welfare.
at all times to protect the welfare
Of the student body.
of the student body
And to promote good relations.
and to promote good relations
Between the students.
between the students
And those concerned with the university.
and those concerned with the university.
Congratulations.
Well, congratulations to the new members of the Student Affairs Fee Advisory Board, and thank you, Senate, for going through that presentation, as well as voting to confirm them tonight. I know those candidates are fantastic candidates. As I sat down and was able to talk to each of them during the interviews, I'm very excited for what they're going to do moving forward. With that, we will go into a period of approval of the 2/24/21 meeting minutes. We'll move to approve it by general consent. Do I see any objections to approving those meeting minutes by general consent? Seeing none, that does pass. We will now move into a period of unfinished business, beginning with the second reading of SA 7305, the Records Alignment Act. Chair Hines, do you have anyone else presenting with you?
Yes, Senator Anders will be joining me tonight.
Fantastic.
All right, if you want to pick us off.
Records Alignment Act.
And senators, if you could remember to remain 6 feet apart.
An act to align the SGA code with the current records numbering system. Whereas one, given the change in the definitions of Senate acts and Senate bills passed earlier this session, the 73rd session adopted a new numbering system to differentiate the two classifications of legislation where Senate acts are reflected as SA X-Y and Senate bills are reflected as SB X-Y. X being the current session number and Y being the next increasing number from the previous legislation brought forward. And whereas two, this change is not reflected in the code in order to stay consistent with rules relating to keeping official Senate records.
Therefore, let it be enacted one, the 73rd session aligns the SGA code records numbering system to reflect the current numbering system that's in place now, and let it be further enacted two, that we amend Title 5, Subtitle 8, Article 3, Section 2, to read as the following. Section 2, the following numbering system shall be used for legislation submitted to the Speaker for consideration. Subsection A, as soon as a piece of legislation is submitted to the Speaker, it shall be given a unique number that will be changed or reused. That will not be changed or reused, excuse me. A Senate bill shall be given the designation SBXY, where X is the session number and Y is the next number, and increasing order, starting with one. Senate acts passed during the 73rd session and forward shall have their own set of numbers starting with one, and they will be designated as SAXY. Senate resolutions shall have their own set of numbers, also starting with one, but they will be designated SRXY. At no time shall two pieces of legislation have the exact same designation. All numbered legislation must be entered into the Senate archives in its most recent form within 5 class days of the end of the session. And then let it be further enacted for a copy of this bill be sent to Megan Hine, Rules and Regulations Chair, Chandler Cross Clare, Speaker Pro Tem 4, and Michaela Massis, Senator or Director of Records. So as we explained last week, this is just aligning what we're already doing to what's in the code to keep it updated and keep our archives organized. So we are open to questions.
Listeners are open for questions. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. Thank you all. You may take your seats. We will now move into a period of debate on this piece of legislation, beginning with debate against. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, do I see any debate for? And seeing none, that will conclude our period of debate, as debate has become one-sided. We'll now move into a period of voting led by Speaker Pro Tem Troska.
All right, howdy folks, it's open. Let's go ahead and get that taken care of by 7:53.
When we come to order, I do believe we have a vote announcement. Speaker Pro Tem Troska.
We have 42 votes in affirmation.
And by that does pass. And that will conclude our period of unfinished business, and we will move into a period of new business, beginning with the first reading of SA 7306, the Dress Code Inclusivity Act. Chair Hein.
And I will also be having Chair Jeffress along with Chair Ahmed.
Is Charlotte muted? I think she's gonna start us off.
You do have the floor.
Charlotte, are you here with us?
Yes, hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, if you wanna kick us off.
So Heidi Senate, this piece is an act to address the code and to make sure that our dress code requirements in the code are gender inclusive for whatever a student may identify as. And so with that, the Dress Code Inclusivity Act, an act to reform the dress code to be inclusive of all gender identities. And I can start us off with whereas 1, Texas A&M Student Government Association strives to be inclusive to all and not discriminate on the basis of sex assigned at birth, gender, gender identity, and gender expression. And
whereas 2, the Student Senate, as a professional organization who strives to maintain a high standard of professionalism while being intentional of cultivating inclusion.
Therefore, let it be enacted 1, the following modifications are made to Title 3, Chapter 1, Article 4, Section 1, subsection B, and subsequent subsections. Be addressed as adding non-core of cadet senators instead of gentlemen, inserting professional dress skirt and jacket or pantsuit with appropriate shirt or other professional dress, inserting mini skirts, sundresses, beach dresses, and spaghetti strap dresses are inappropriate and unprofessional. Clothing must be modest. Striking what would have been subsection 3. And so it reads, Senator dress code, all senators shall be required to adhere to the professional dress code dress standards in official Senate meetings as enforced by the Rules and Regulations Chair. Requirements for meetings outside of the official Senate meeting shall be determined and enforced by the prospective chair. Professional dress is considered the following. 1, non-core cadet senators, slacks with button-up shirt tucked in with belt tie, formal neckwear, and sports coat, or a suit with belt or suspenders or braces, and tie, formal neckwear, or a professional dress skirt and jacket or pantsuit with appropriate shirt or other professional dress. The jacket or sports coat may be removed for comfort throughout the meeting, as well as loosening of the tie. Shirts should remain tucked in throughout the duration. Hat and cultural attire may be worn as long as they meet professional standards. Mini skirts, sundresses, beach dresses, and spaghetti strap dresses are inappropriate, unprofessional. Clothing must be modest. 2, Corps Cadet members dressed determined as business professional by the Corps Cadet leadership. 3, professional shoes include but are not limited to dress shoes, Oxfords, loafers, boots, flats, and dress heels. Tennis shoes, flip-flops, sandals, and slippers are unprofessional. 4, jackets and ties must be worn before giving recognition if these items were removed during the meeting. Failure to adhere to the dress standards outlined will result in a loss of speaking privileges. And let it be further enacted. A copy of this bill be sent to moi, Megan Hine, Rules and Regulations Chair. So with that, we yield our time to questions.
Presenters are open for questions. Are there any questions for the presenters at this time? Seeing none, that will conclude our period of question and answer. You may take your seats.
All right.
And as that was the first reading of SA 7306, the Dress Code Inclusivity Act, that will be sent to the Rules and Regulations Committee for further consideration before its second reading. We will now move on to the reading of SR 7344, the Increased Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Resolution. I believe the primary author is Senator Lucas. Senator Lucas, will anyone else be presenting with you?
Would you please unmute Chair Ahmed and Mayor Lynn?
You should be set. You do have the floor.
all right, Heidi Senate. I'll start off by introducing this piece. And provide a little bit of background before we do get into it. So this is the Increased Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Resolution. This was spurred by a recent article that came out by the battalion It did spur a lot of passion and a lot of students and a lot of senators kind of came together wanting to work on this issue. And so we thought the best way to do that was to really focus on how can we focus on sexual assault awareness and prevention. And then with that, we did make sure to collaborate extensively with Fish Camp to ensure that any statements that we made were done in association with them through their approval and through measures that they do plan to pursue. And with that, I will go in to read the description. A resolution acknowledging the recent incidences of sexual assault within Fish Camp through Texas A&M and throughout Texas A&M student organizations and calling for immediate action and accountability to prevent additional instances of assault. And with that, Senator Lucas can go straight into Whereas 1.
Whereas 1, on February 3rd, 2021, an article was published to the battalion website detailing instances of freshmen experiencing sexual violence perpetrated by their, quote, DP parents, who are the assigned camp counselors in charge of a small, intimate group of incoming students. And
Whereas 2, a rule barring Fish Camp counselors from having sexual or romantic relationships with the freshmen prior to October of the same school year is absent from the Fish Camp Constitution and bylaws. And
Whereas 3, victims of sexual assault suffer academically and emotionally as a result of the physical and mental trauma associated with such crimes, and 14.3% of female students have been shown to have a GPA below 2.5 the semester in which their assaults occur. And
whereas 4, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted in college. And
whereas 5, more than 50% of college sexual assaults occur in the months of August, September, October, or November. And
whereas 6, 84% of female survivors report that they were assaulted during their first 4 semesters of college. And
whereas 7, the statistical average over the past 5 years shows that upwards of 60% of sexual assaults and rapes go unreported. And
whereas 8, even if 40% of attacks are reported, there's only 16.3% chance that the perpetrator will end up in prison. And
therefore, let it be resolved 1, the 73rd session of Texas A&M Student Senate denounces all forms of sexual assault everywhere, especially towards any current Texas A&M students, and stands with survivors whether they opt to report or not. And
let it further be resolved 2, the Texas A&M Student Senate recommends for the mandation of step-in, stand-up training in the new student conference curriculum, with this being supported and recommended by Dr. Denise Kasabi, who is the coordinator for interpersonal violence prevention. And
let it be further resolved 3, the Texas A&M Student Senate recommends that University Police Department collaborate with the Women's Resource Center and the Pride Center to promote inclusive self-defense trainings offered on campus to all students based on recommendation provided by Dr. Denise Kasabi. And
let it be further resolved 4, the Texas A&M Student Senate calls for the inclusion of a rule in the Fish Camp Constitution and Behavioral Agreement that explicitly details that there should be no sexual or romantic relations between freshmen and counselors throughout their entire membership term in Fish Camp.
recommends for the implementation of mandatory green dot